Hey, this is Vallisa from the Lyca Radio Breakfast Show, and we're going to be speaking to Raghav once again. You guys remember the last interview? Well, this is sort of like part two, I want to say.
Okay.
Because we discussed a lot in part one.
Yeah.
And now you've actually come and brought us the song that we can talk about, from like talking about your past and where you started from and everything. Now we're here 4 months on.
Definitely. That was the preamble.
That was. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you very much for having me.
So,
and thank you for your support for playing it all so far.
You are welcome. We love this song. It was my track of the week. It's been #1 on our playlist on the chart show. Everyone's playing it. Everyone's in love with it. We're going to do a reel about it later. I'll tell you more about that because I don't think he's going to agree, but we'll see.
Okay.
How have you been?
I've been really well. Yeah, it's like I've been a little nervous, to be away for so long from this particular sound that I'm kind of known for, is the only way to describe it. And then to put it out again and to wonder if people are going to like it. And, I've been kind of nervous. So it's been an anxious time, but the response has been overwhelming. Like, it's just been a lot of love and a lot of support. And we still have a lot of work to do. And yeah, I mean, this time around, I think I might have mentioned in the first interview, this time around, putting out music like this, I have a daughter. So I kind of want her to see what I've been through the last 20 years in terms of my career. I would like her to see more ups than downs. And I hope that's what the future holds. So I'm really motivated to I want to have one of the greatest comebacks in the industry ever. That's my goal.
And wouldn't you feel anyway that every time you release a new song, you sort of get those nerves, irregardless of whether it's been a comeback, whether it's something that you released last week and you released a new song, just because you don't know what's going to happen with it?
Not so much with other records compared to this one, because the particular sound, the formula of what this song is, the fact that I did it with Mushtaq, the fact that it has an old sample in there, the fact that it's club driven, like there's a lot of meaning. There's a lot of meaning behind that sound for me in terms of that's the sound that I started out with. So doing a chapter 2 to what Storyteller was, my debut album, almost 20 years later is like, it feels exciting, and then you're not sure if people are going to look at it fondly or not. Sometimes when I see artists try and come back with sounds that have defined them and they miss the mark, it doesn't look good or it doesn't sound good. What feels really great about this is that people think we've nailed it. That's the feedback I'm getting so far. And so it makes the years that I've been kind of trying to plot what this would sound like with Mush and just being in the studio makes it feel really worthwhile, because I was conscious that this can't be done in a way that misses the mark in any way.
And Desperado, he's like, what a way to kick off a comeback. What made you choose this particular sample?
I didn't choose it. Mushtaq chose it. And when he sent it to me, it's the Sajaunga Lutikar Bhi Teri Badan. And I was like, what song is this? And then I kind of sang it through and I was like, oh, this is Churalia. And I hit him up right away. And I said, people have done Churalia before. And he said, shut up. This is amazing. No one's taken this portion of the song. And I remember his text really said, listen to how Rafi rides the beat. And when I listened to it, I was just like, this is too cool.
And that's the truth, is that Churalia has been sampled before, but this particular part hasn't.
That's right.
And like you said, like when I first heard it, I'm singing along to it and I'm going, well, what song is this? What song is this? And then I'm like, Churalia, of course, it is Rafi. Like, it's Rafi, but at the same time, you're trying to still figure out what song it is.
I think for me, what meant a lot is when the first snippet of the song came out, Rishi Rich sent me a note on Instagram. And he said, this is really great. And I replied to him and I said, actually, I need your blessing on this, because I know he's previously sampled it, a different part of the song. So that meant a lot to me. And you're right. It is a more obscure part of the song, even though it's not really obscure in the sense that when Rafi's voice kicks in the film, a lot of people are like, whoa, like there's something about the way that it's enacted in the film. Actually, I don't know who the actor is. I'm trying to think.
You're asking the wrong person.
Okay,
I'm on Lyca Radio, not Lyca Gold.
Yeah. There's just something about it that's just dramatic. And so that drama the feeling of danger that we're trying to give on this record, it comes across in that sample really well.
Definitely. And you've mentioned before, and I was on a live with you and Tesha, I was watching that.
Okay.
You mentioned the fact that this is the first time you've used a male
Yes,
vocal as a sample rather than a female vocal.
The first time I've done it, I was trying to think on that live with Tesh, we were trying to think if it's ever been done. I thought of maybe like a little bit in the Missy Elliott song, but actually I think Tesh was right when we were discussing it in the live that, you know, in this style, has there really been a male? It's always Lyca and Asha Bhosle. So yeah, I'm not saying it's a first, but it definitely feels unique, you know?
100%. And tell us about working with Tesha, because ironically, you're both from Canada, two different generations.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
true.
trying to make you sound old at all.
That's fine. That's
but two different generations. So tell us about working with Tesha.
It's weird. It's like looking into a mirror of where I was 20 years ago in my life, you know? There's a lot of similarities between him and I in our personality and our humor. Like the most fun part of working with Tesha is our banter when we're insulting each other online or having fun with each other, you know, in a fun way. In comments, he's just a really smart, clever, kind, professional artist, you know. And I kind of look at Jalebi Baby as like what he's going through. Kind of feels like maybe what I went through at a different time right after Angel Eyes, where it's like there's a lot of like, what's happening next? What are you doing next? And let's be realistic about this. Like for him to do this song coming off, this is really his next release after Jalebi Baby, coming off of that monumental a record. It says a lot about him, how he looks at his art, and what kind of person he is, you know? So I think that he's going to take our scene to new heights. And I am beyond grateful that he's on this record. He sounds great on it.
And he's actually said for him, it's a dream come true to work with you, because he feels like you paved the path for what he then came in to be able to do in the future.
Well, that's sweet of him to say, but I mean, we're all path pavers. Like anyone that enters this field that has any level of success, this is a joint thing, you know. Rishi and Jay and Juggy have paved part of that path. Apache Indian paved the path. Like we've all done what we had to do, and now Tesha's paving a lot of pathway himself, you know. So we're all in it together. But that is kind of him to say.
And in our last interview, you mentioned the fact that obviously Mushtaq worked with Storyteller with you on Storyteller, and now he's back on this particular album that you're going to be releasing. How does it feel to bring that vibe back again?
Feels like love. You know, it's like, you know, if you've ever had magic with someone, whether it's professionally, whether it's romantically, whether it's family member, you know, and then you go away for a long time and then you get back together with that person and the jokes are the same or the music are the same or the feeling's just right. You're in the pocket of like, yeah, like a working with all different people, but like there's just a magic there. It's not recreating it, it's just refinding it. And so that has probably been the most special thing about the whole thing. Yeah.
And this particular song, like, how long have you been working on it? Because I know you mentioned that thanks to COVID, actually, you slowed down a bit. You were able to really rethink and redefine where you were going. And that's kind of where this album came from.
Yeah.
But can you imagine without COVID, you may never have worked with Tesha just because you wouldn't have slowed down enough to get to this point? Or were you already working on this?
No, before COVID, I'd been in with Mush and we'd kind of went, oh, this is going to be special. And then the world just shut down. And actually the first reaction you have is, well, darn, I just kind of found the magic again. And now the world is shut down. But there were a bunch of things that happened during COVID that made me have to prioritize my professional life, my personal life, who I was going to be, what kind of artist I wanted to be. I needed to slow down. You know, the plaques like that you get for having gold or platinum records? They were sitting on my floor for 20 years. They were sitting in storage. Like, it's a weird thing. Putting them up on the wall was like, I can't describe it. It was like a cathartic feeling of like, oh yeah, I've actually done something. Because when you're, you know, you can't see the label when you're in the jar.
Yeah.
So I had to get out of that. And there was no way I could get out of it because this is my living. I travel so much. This is how I provide for my family. You know, you're in it. And COVID was so important to me. Obviously it was a terrible time. And it was a terrible time for me in many ways. You know, I didn't work for 2.5 years, but I needed it to stop and really decide what I was going to be post-COVID, So it was an important time. And then when we started traveling again last year and a half ago, is when we really went in, and that's how long Desperado's been bubbling for.
And for me, Desperado feels like an amplified Raghav. So a lot of people are saying that it's your comeback, which it is.
Yeah.
And people are saying that it reminds them of like your first songs that were coming out. But to me, it feels like you've had that 20-year career. You now know where you're going. You're that much older, so you've got that much more experience, not just musically, in life and everything. And Desperado seems like the best comeback to come back with.
I love the way you've put that. I've never thought of it like that. See, for me, I never went away. Like when you're in it every day and you got a show on Friday and you're in the studio on Wednesday and you're just constantly moving, it doesn't feel like you've gone away. I'm taking that perspective of like YouTube comments and people going, "Hey man, where'd you go?" I'm like, "I'm here. I've had a platinum record. I've had a Bollywood film. I've been doing rah, 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 rah." But I get it. Like they needed to, it's not like the campaign's any different. It's just the sound that Mush and I create. It makes them feel a certain way. The sound of like the next song might be a Hindi song that rides over a reggae Caribbean feeling kind of rhythm. That might remind, not to directly remind them of Teri Baaton, but it might give them a certain emotion or feeling. But you have to be able to be at a place in your life where you can create it organically without just saying, "I'm going to take this and I'm going to add it to this and I'm going to add a Hindi lyric." Like that is so scientific and so soulless. That's not how Storyteller was made. That's not how this record is being made. So yeah, hopefully everything moving forward gets the same reaction that Desperado has in the first couple of weeks.
And when we spoke last, you said in your interview you wouldn't make a track that's trending. You would want to make something that is dope, that you think is dope, and hope that other people would think it's dope.
Yes.
So let me ask you, is Desperado dope?
Yeah. Desperado conveys an emotion that I don't think I've previously conveyed in any of my music, but still uses the format of making a Raghav song that will feel familiar, is the best way I can put it. Well, what really signifies to me that I think that it's dope is that when you see the reels that are being created right now, everyone's taking different parts of the song. Some take the beginning, some take Tesha's verse, some take the second verse. So it's not like it's got a 20-second hook. It's a 4-minute composition which you can feel any part of it.
And originally you were going to drop the song last year. Obviously, then your dad passed away. And then you mentioned you were going to drop it in January, February. It then came out in April. Was this the first song that you were going to drop from the album?
Yeah, it was. I think when Dad passed in November, it was probably stupid of me to think that I would be at a place where I could release it in January, February. I just needed more time. Like I just, after my father passed away, though he had a wonderful, long, great life, it just took a little while to feel like you could do everything at the pace you were doing it before he left us, So, and I'm glad that happened for me because those few months after Dad passed, that I didn't rush anything. I'm glad that went like that because I have a wonderful family who's loved me very much, and I love them very much, and I needed time to be able to do things properly. So yeah.
And process where you were and be in the right mind frame.
If you spend half of every minute missing him or thinking about the finality of having lost an amazing father like I had, then that's beautiful, but it means that you gotta find that extra time to do this the way it deserves. And everybody on the project, whether it's Tesha or Mushtaq or the folks in the video or anyone that supports me or the fans or anybody that benefits from the record, deserves it to be done at the way that I'm able to do it now, which is give it the best I can. I'm an independent artist. I do not have, you're not going to see billboards of me right now anywhere. You're not going to see posters of me. We don't have even 5 or 10 figure budgets or 6-figure budgets, sorry, to be promoting this record. We're doing this through the love of the fans. We're gonna the music video and just traveling around spreading the word. So it feels actually quite organic in a way. You know what I mean? I can't let anybody down but the folks that believe in me, and I'm not going to let that happen.
And talking about the music video, actually, you've done something very clever because The video's not out yet. You put a lyrical video out. In fact, we don't know when this interview is going to go out, so we're not sure whether the video would have dropped by then.
Oh, it'll be out
but
by then. Yeah.
You put out a lyrical video, and I think that was quite clever because it made sure that the song was out there on an extra platform, which was YouTube, with the lyrics. What was the thinking behind that? Why didn't you wait until the video was completely ready?
You know, excuse me, originally the video would have come sooner to the release of the song. Excuse me, but there's a few things we needed to work out in it because it's not just a regular music video where it's like me in front of a car just vibing. Like there's a storyline to it, trying to get that across. It's quite intricate, so it's taken a little longer. On the day the record came out, Tesha was like, we need a lyric video. It was all Tesh. And he put it together, and he's quite a remarkable dude. And he put it together, and I think it was done like 15 minutes before it went live, before the song came out. So that was all him, and it looks great, and it fits the theme of everything in and around the record, including the music video. And it was brilliant because it allowed people to comment on what they thought of the song, or how they felt about me, or what they think about Tesha on it. So that's been helpful.
And tell us a little bit about the video.
Oh yeah, sure. So the video, we shot it in Canada, and this record conveys danger. Like the only example I can give that's like the feeling I wanted to recreate when I wrote the song would be almost like Smooth Criminal, Michael Jackson, where like there's some gangsta stuff going on, something weird happening. That's definitely happening in the video. It's like it pulls from references of old Western meets horror film meets kind of something that's a little more cult based. It's interesting.
We're going to look forward to seeing that one, definitely.
Thank you.
And are you allowed to tell us more about the other songs that are on the album?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm not sure what the next single is yet. We have a choice of two. One is a full-on Hindi song that feels very summery, so I'm kind of leaning towards that. And then the other one follows the same formula in the sense that it has, I hate the word formula, please, I don't mean to say that, but it has the same feel, has a really a much older Indian sample in it. And it's telling a story as well.
And before we finish, I have to ask you, so I know you've profusely said you will not dance.
Yes, I won't dance.
But are you getting better with the social media now?
Getting better in what way?
Because you were saying when you were talking to Tesha, and I know you also put up a little caption on one of your pictures, apologizing to Tesha, saying like, I'm not a dinosaur, but I just like, I'm not really with it with the social media.
Well, he was like, hey, what are we going to do on your TikTok? I was like, about my TikTok, I don't have one. He's like, what? He's like, what? And I was like, yeah, like, I'm like, the reason I don't have one, and this is very important, is because I'm not 14 years old. And he's like, dude, you need to get a TikTok. So Tesha and his manager Divya have helped me set that up, and I'm like, whatever.
And do you know what's hilarious about that? Teri Batome was trending on TikTok.
I know.
But Raghav doesn't have TikTok.
Yeah. Come find me, kids. I ain't there. So yeah, what a funny thing. But there's only so much you can do. The one thing about promotion this time that has been really strange is that I'm on my phone all the time. I never look up from it. And you're like, repost this, say this. Like, and I mean, you'll understand this. Again, it's like, at what point does promoting something on your own account look like you're amplifying the record? And at one point, like, there's just so many narcissists on there, you know what I mean? That are like, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. And it's like, I don't know.
But it also gives the reach of the song so much more widespread, faster.
No, I love it. I'm saying that. That's great.
Yeah.
But it's like, you just want to like, it's like retweeting compliments about yourself.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I get 50% of it, and 50% of it is like, really? Do I really need to say, do I need to tell everybody that this person loves me?
To be fair.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And do you know what the thing is? You're actually
You wouldn't do that in real life.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
But you're quite good because I've noticed on your stories, you are sharing a lot of people's content.
I love sharing their interpretation of the art. If they happen to write that they love us in the corner, that's wonderful. And like, I'm not saying no, but it's a weird thing if you are even remotely a thoughtful person, if someone's like, oh my God, you're the best person ever, way ahead of your time, da da da. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I'll put this out there because the song's on there. And sometimes I'm like, this is a weird thing to be like, hey, everybody, look what Sunitha in Birmingham thinks of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She thinks I'm amazing. So it's like, it's a weird balance to to whatever. Maybe there is no balance. I think everybody else would be like, just tell everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, there's some artists that don't share anything, so.
Why is that?
I don't know, but you're doing a good job of it, so it's fine.
All right, well, I'll try.
Amazing. So before we wrap up, can I ask you to sing a couple of lines from Desperado?
Oh, chica bonita, I'm taking you with me this time. Te quiero, te amo. Just tell me you'll stay by my side. So let's say adios and leave all our troubles behind. Desperado, desperado, in this together we live or we die. सजाऊंगा लुट कर भी तेरी बदन की लाली को सजाऊंगा लुट कर भी तेरी बदन की डाली को लहू जिगर का दूंगा हंसी लबों की लाली को. I messed up that lyric, sorry.
I'm just saying that when you
that was Ruffy's bit. It was his job.
When you done that, I was sitting there and I'm like, oh my god, I had that wrong the whole time in my head. Have I been singing?
I got it wrong.
You got it wrong.
Yeah.
I feel better now.
That's right. Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry, R.D. Burman and Majroo Sultanpuri and Muhammad Rafi.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the summer with your next single.
Boom, boom, shake the room.